Like most of you, I'm certain, my email racks up with all kinds of horseshit. Websites and things like that say, we don't sell your data, that's a freaking lie. Anyway, I got the 9 millionth email chain letter in my life, which I, of course, ignored and deleted as usual. Now I wish I'd have forwarded it to someone, like these stupid chain letters always want. This one discussed an urban legend I was unfamiliar with, the mirror people. Luckily, I took a picture of my computer screen to send a picture of this email to my buddy, since I wasn't going to waste my time actually sending him the chain letter. Here's what it said: watch out. The mirror people are out there. Who are the mirror people, you ask? They are people that can only be seen using a mirror. They cannot be seen with the naked eye unless you look in a mirror and see their reflection. They are the opposite of vampires. You may know some folklore says vampires have no reflection in a mirror. Well, mirror people are only a reflection. But don't be fooled, they aren't people at all. They may look like people, but rest assured they are not human. How do you stay safe from the mirror people? Forward this email to 5 people in your contact list. This will keep the mirror people at bay. You have 3 days to forward this email, or the mirror people will be onto you. You'll know they are onto you because you will get a text message from an unknown number, then someone will knock on your door. If you have not forwarded this email after 3 days, do not answer your door if you can't see who it is. Do yourself a favor and forward this email, otherwise, you better start carrying a mirror in your pocket. Nobody knows of any way to get rid of the mirror people, and nobody who has confronted them is still around. If you are foolish enough not to forward this email, all you can do is evade them. They disappear after a few seconds, but make no mistake, they are everywhere. Sounds pretty stupid, doesn't it? Typical chain letter trash. That was obviously my initial thought, and my friend and I played it off for laughs. That was until he sent me a text at 12:15 a.m., a little over 3 days later. Dude, some unknown number just texted me, knock, then someone knocked on my door twice. WTF, lol, someone from that letter joking with us. I got a sick feeling in my stomach. Did me taking a picture of the email get him involved in the chain even though I didn't actually forward him the email? I thought for a second that meant I was off the hook, but it said send it to 5 people. I called him. Dude, they are still knocking and won't answer, he said. This is bullshit, I'm going to open it and kick their ass. I look out my peephole and nobody is there. This makes my neck hair stand at attention. Wait, don't open the door if you can't see someone there, I said nervously. He was silent for a second, then chuckled. Don't tell me you're falling for that chain letter bullshit. Anybody could find where we live using our email, especially if it has our name in it. This is some asshole hiding underneath my peephole playing games. I'm opening the door. No, I yell into my phone. I had a terrible feeling in my gut, but part of me hoped I really was just being a moron and falling right into their trap with that stupid letter. I heard him open his door. All right, assholes, I heard him say. I waited for something else to happen, but there was nothing but silence. I called his name out multiple times, yelling it the last time. Silence. There hadn't even been any sounds of a struggle. At this point, I start freaking out. Should I call the police? Should I go over there? Before I can think of any more options, my phone buzzes. The number simply says, unknown. I get a sick feeling when I read it. Knock. If I would rather not puke from reading the text, I certainly about pooped my pants 5 seconds later when I heard 2 sharp raps on my front door. Knock knock. I'm freaking out. This can't be real. This isn't happening. There were 2 more loud knocks. My front door didn't have a peephole, but my front window can see who is at my door. I run over to it, hopefully thinking it's just a neighbor who locked themselves out or something. Honestly, I didn't care who it was, as long as somebody asterisk was standing there. I got to my window just in time for 2 more sharp knocks. I shrieked to myself when I looked out my window to my front stoop. Nobody was there. I fell backwards onto my butt, backing away from the window. No heck, way this is happening. 2 more raps at the door. I realized there was only one thing left to do. I grabbed my ex-girlfriend's pocket mirror she left in of my bathroom. It was a rectangle that was probably 2 inches ca. 5 centimeters by 3 inches ca. 8 centimeters in size. It was small but not tiny. I go back to my window and position it, so it's facing my front stoop. I look in and nearly puke. There's a man standing there looking directly at me. He had black hair and was maybe in his 40s. I can see in the mirror he has a piercing gaze, completely emotionless. I look at the door again without the mirror to verify I'm not losing my mind. Yep, he's not there in real life, he is there when I look with the mirror. Oh, my god, how is this happening? What the hell do I even do? I decided to go over to my buddy's apartment and see what happened. I run out my back door, forgetting to use my mirror. I must have been lucky. I unlock my car that's out on the street from my backyard with my key fob and remember the mirror. I look all around me, the streetlights and the moon are the only source of light. I don't see anything at first, but at the end of my spin I see someone in the mirror standing across the street about 2 houses down. It's an old man with a piercing gaze in my direction. I look in real life and there's nobody there. I hate my life. As I'm running out of my backyard to my car out on the street, I hear someone's car door close somewhere. Wonder what they are doing out at this time. I get my answer a few seconds later. My car was in sight, so I rushed towards it and stop. I use my mirror to look over my shoulder and see someone is now in my backyard. I spin the mirror around, and the man across the street is now in the middle of the street, closer to me than he was before. These mirror people are real. I'm about to get in my car when a voice in my head tells me, "Use the mirror, you idiot." I look in my car and of course nobody is in there. I use the mirror to look in and see someone is sitting in the driver's seat, hands on the steering wheel. They are looking forward instead of at me. So, that was the car door sound I heard. Why did I unlock it from so far away? Feeling like I'm surrounded, I start freaking out. The mirror people in my backyard and in the street are now getting closer. I suddenly remember what the letter said about evading, so I make a break for it. Using my mirror to look ahead of me, I run about a block south and get off on a side street. I stop to catch my breath, frantically using my mirror to look in all directions. No mirror people in sight. I decide my plan is to steal a neighbor kid's bike. A family nearby keeps them in their backyard under an overhang to save on garage space. I fully intended to return it, and if I couldn't, I'd buy them a new one. I use my mirror to look forward and spot a mirror person now in front of me standing under a tall tree. I keep my eyes on them with my mirror as I cross the street. Their gaze follows me as I pick up my pace. I can see them slowly start to walk towards me. After a few seconds, I look all around me again. Nothing. The mirror person seems to have disappeared. I thought to myself, that's all I have to do. The letter said they'd disappear after a few seconds of evading. I then remember it also said they were everywhere. I used my mirror again as I approached the house I was looking for. A mirror person was right in front of the house, starting directly at me with the same emotionless, blank stare all the others had. It was an old lady this time, white hair and all. I went around to the back of the house to where they kept their bikes, hoping they weren't all chained together. Luckily, they weren't. I carefully pick the one closest to me when the garage door nearby opens. I think to myself, I'm busted. Dad was probably in the garage having a beer and now everyone is going to think I'm a kid's bike thief. I look towards the open door and nobody is there. Of course, nobody's there, for sake. I use my mirror and a mirror person is standing in the threshold. They are too close for my comfort, so I grab the bike and race back towards the front. At this point, I realize they seem to be bound by the laws of nature. They need to open doors, they can't get in if the door's locked, and don't seem to move faster than a normal person who isn't rushing. I rode down the street and towards my friend's apartment building. He didn't live too far away, but it would take longer on a bike. I also found out it was going to take a lot longer having to watch out for mirror people. It was like every intersection I came to, I had to change direction. Mirror people were popping up everywhere. I couldn't help but remember what the letter said, evading was easy, but mirror people were everywhere. They weren't lying, they were everywhere. It had only been about a half hour since this all started, and I already longed for my old life back, when I didn't know about mirror people, and they left me alone. Who's the stupid person who sent that chain letter to me anyway? After changing direction for the 937th time, I finally got to my friend's apartment complex. Several groups of people were outside smoking and some even drinking. I figured I'd follow someone in when they went inside. One group of 3 girls looked like they were about to go in, but when I used my mirror, there were 5 girls going in, damn it. I changed direction and focused on 2 guys smoking what smelled like tobacco. Using my mirror, the man on the left had a mirror person standing directly behind him. The mirror person had to be like an inch away from him. I shuddered to think about how many mirror people had been right up my ass like that when I was ignorant and safe from them. I went and stood by the door while it was safe, no mirror people nearby or directly inside. Sure enough, a man came out a few seconds later, and I slipped in. I decided to take the stairs. If the elevator stopped somewhere and a mirror person was blocking the door or something, I was screwed. Anyway, I got to my friend's floor and the hallway looked clear. I used my mirror, and of course, there were 3 goddamn mirror people in my way. Their emotionless, intense gazes made me sick to my stomach. I went up one more flight and checked for mirror people in the hallway. It was clear. I started crossing the hallway to the opposite side, where the other stairwell was. I heard a door open behind me and used my mirror to see someone exit their apartment and stare at me. I looked over my shoulder in real life and nobody was there. A fucking mirror person. I looked back at my mirror, and they were starting to walk towards me, so I picked up the pace. I exited into the stairwell and up was clear. Thank God I didn't need to go down. I used my mirror to look down for good measure and there were mirror people sitting on the stairs. It was like they knew I saw them, since once I looked at them, they all turned to look at me and stood up. I quickly went upstairs to my friend's floor. My goddamn life, 2 mirror people were blocking the way. This was the first kid mirror person I'd seen, and the creepy, blank stare was 10 times worse on a kid. It was like Children of the Corn on steroids. I exited back into the stairwell and had an idea. I went up half a flight, then went back down. Was that enough evading to make them disappear? I peeked back into my friend's hallway and the mirror people were gone. Seemed like even, fake, evading worked. I ran to my friend's apartment before any more mirror people could mess me up. His door was still unlatched, it was barely open but still open. I flung the door open and called his name out. His cell phone was laying on the floor by the door. I surveyed the area from the doorway and there was no sign of him. I used my mirror and got a sick feeling when I saw 2 mirror people sitting on his couch. They didn't take their eyes off me as they stood up. The sick feeling quickly turned to anger. I thought to myself these must be the thing that got him. I wanted to kick their butt and mess them up myself. There had to be a way to hurt them. I was about to stand my ground as they approached until I remembered the letter said nobody knew of any way to get rid of them, and everyone who had tried was now gone. I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but after my friend unknowingly confronted them and disappeared off the face of the earth, I understood. I ducked out before they got too close and realized I was pretty stupid to come here. This was a narrow hallway. All it would take is a mirror person on either side of the hallway and I would be trapped. Thank God there were only mirror people on one side. It was like a mirror people family, an adult man and woman and a kid. I ran the other way and back out into the stairs. Making my way down was rough. I only got down 1 flight of stairs before I saw mirror people on the stairs below me. I looked up with my mirror and could also see mirror people coming from above as well. The only way I could go was out of the stairwell and into the hallway. I had to do this several times. It felt like they take an hour to get down just 3 flights of stairs. I was 1 floor away from the lobby when I finally got boxed in. I entered the hallway like I had before and walked only a few steps before the stairwell door at the opposite end of the hallway opened. Of course nobody was there in real life, but using my mirror, I was met with a cold, dead stare of a mirror person. I stopped and turned around and found another mirror person blocking the way I had just come from. What the hell do I do now? I can see them start to move in my mirror, and I panic. I hear loud music coming from a room nearby. I check it and find the door is cracked, so I duck in and find a full-blown party. What up, man? A man shouts in my face as soon as I enter. You lost, Mac? Another guy asks gruffly. I'm just hiding out from the mirror people. I could not believe I said that out loud. Mirror people, I hate them, I heard someone say. I almost got my hopes up that maybe this man knew something about it, but after he stood up and let out a woo, I realized he was so confoundingly drunk he probably didn't even know who he was. I suddenly had an idea. I made my way through the room to the back where the balcony was. The second floor was only about 10 feet, ca. 3 meters up. I could easily drop if I hung down from the balcony. I said a few excuse me's to the people out on the balcony and hoisted myself up and over. I dangled as far down as I could and dropped. Wasn't bad at all. I could hear muffled voices above me asking each other, did that seriously just happen? I surveyed the area. There were goddamn mirror people everywhere. I almost broke down. I wanted to start crying. Was this the rest of my life, ducking away from these mirror people forever? At that point, about 12 stupid mirror people started to move towards me with their stupid ass blank stares, so I knew I had to move. I hopped back on the kid's bike, thank God some drunk asshole didn't steal it, and started riding back home. In case you were wondering, it's quite difficult riding a bike when you have to look down at a mirror to see if the way in front of you is clear. It took forever with all the direction changes I had to make to avoid mirror people, but I was almost home when I got an idea. If they still need to open doors and don't seem to be able to get past a locked door, shouldn't I be safe in my house? My house isn't that big at all, will they materialize inside there like they seem to be doing out here? I dumped the kid's bike back in his backyard and started to return home. I was exhausted, all this evading and escaping mirror people was taking its toll. I tried to take the most direct route back to my house. I was only a block away when I saw what seemed like an entire legion of mirror people in the middle of the street and on the sidewalk. I ended up having to go about 3 blocks east out of my way to start doubling back. I rounded a corner and saw an old man sitting in a wheelchair with an oxygen tank hooked up to it in my mirror. There's no way this could be a mirror person. Sure enough, he wasn't there in real life, only in the mirror. That seemed like a pretty complex and specific form to take. Did they just randomly take whatever shape they wanted? It wasn't until I got home that that question was answered. I hopped the fence into my backyard. It was clear. I was almost to my back door when I did one last sweep and found a mirror person standing next to the fence gate. I almost dropped my mirror in horror. It was my friend. He was a mirror person now, the same piercing, emotionless gaze directly at me. I gave him a tearful, "I'm sorry," as I went inside and locked the door. I did a complete sweep of the downstairs and there were no mirror people. My upstairs only consists of my bedroom, so after verifying there were no mirror people up there, I barricaded the door and went up to my room. I had windows on 3 walls of my bedroom. In real life, my neighborhood was deserted, as it should be at almost 3:30 in the morning. But when I looked in my mirror, it was like a neighborhood block party outside. There were mirror people in my backyard, there were mirror people in the street out front, there were mirror people in my neighbor's back and front yards as well. A couple houses down across the street, there was a mirror person on the roof. They are everywhere. I couldn't stop thinking about that last line of the chain letter. They are everywhere. I laid down in my bed, my eyes starting to tear up. I started thinking this was all just a bad dream. I needed to wake up, somehow I needed to force myself to wake up out of this horrible nightmare. This is the real world, crap like this doesn't exist in the real world. Somehow, despite waiting for the sound of breaking glass or splintering wood from my front door at any second, I fell asleep. I slept hard, and I did. I woke up at 9:45 in the morning, almost groggy, like I'd been drugged. I reoriented myself and thought, Jesus H. Christ, that dream was messed up. It was a dream, wasn't it? I saw my ex-girlfriend's old mirror on my bedside stand. That shouldn't be there if it was a dream. It wasn't a dream. I went to my front window and looked out on the street. A few cars drove by, but otherwise everything looked to be ordered. I used my mirror to look down at the street, no mirror people. I looked out another window, no mirror people. The last window was the same, not a mirror person in sight. I went downstairs and secured the area, no mirror people were inside. I ate breakfast and called off work. I needed to collect myself after the previous night's shambles. I didn't trust that the mirror people were really gone. I decided I needed to get to the store and stock up on some supplies. If the mirror people came back, I could at least hole up in my house. I went out my front door and did a sweep. Nothing. I started heading over to the side street where my car was parked, and my heart sank. In real life the way was of course clear, but looking in my mirror there were 3 mirror people about a block north of where I was. Scumbags, I wonder if they purposely gave me a false hope. Anyway, I was able to make it to my car, luckily. Driving was even harder than riding a bike. I think I got honked at more in 10 minutes than I did in my entire life before. I shop at a supercenter, so there are 2 entrances, one for groceries and one for GM. Of course, the grocery side is blocked by mirror people, just standing there staring blankly as the lucky people who aren't aware of them just walk right by. I evade by going to the GM side, and there's a mirror person inside that entrance as well. I notice people looking at me like I'm some kind of dumbass using this mirror and walking around erratically. Oh well, forget them. I try to fake evade again and go back to the grocery side. Thank God it was clear. I quickly realized the terrible mistake I made. This place is far too busy, there are real people everywhere, which is going to make picking out the mirror people a little bit harder. As long as I can pick out the dead stairs, I'll be able to tell who's who. I'm going to have to make sure I come more at night when there are fewer people. I make it to the first aisle and in real life there's about 6 people in it doing their shopping. I use my mirror, and it shows 9 people in the aisle. I quickly realize these grocery aisles will be just like the apartment hallway. I can't go down any because mirror people might box me in if I get to the middle of the aisle, and they appear on the ends. I'm going to have to do my shopping strictly by the end caps of these aisles and whatever center aisle specials there are. People are once again giving me strange looks since I'm constantly stopping and changing direction. If only they knew how messed up my life was now. Once I was done, I, of course, found mirror people standing right outside the door. I turned around and went to the other exit, then turned around again. I must have looked like I was insane. Finally, one of the ways was clear, and I got out to my car. The parking lot was littered with mirror people, so I had to take it slow. I got honked at another 3,000 times, but oh well. I got home and I took all my cold stuff in first, in case mirror people prevented me from getting back out to my car. They did at first, but I evaded and pretended to go down the street, and they disappeared. New mirror people appeared in front of me, so I turned around and got back home safely. So, this is my life now. It's been nearly a month and I think it's finally settled in that this is reality for me now. I'm on the run from mirror people, and will probably remain on the run forever. Until I can find a way to get rid of them, they aren't going anywhere. I tried googling mirror people, but all that's on there is some foreign band called Mirror People. I can't be the only one who never forwarded that stupid chain letter. Maybe I'm the only one the mirror people are after that is still alive. It's a harsh reality, but it's mine now. It takes me much longer to get things done since I'm constantly having to evade them, but luckily, I have a job where I'm consistently moving around, so nobody really notices my movements are quite erratic while I'm evading mirror people at work. I bought the smallest mirror I could find, and it's easier to conceal and hide, so people don't really see me using it. Grocery shopping sucks now too. There's only so much available in the center aisle and end caps at the store, but I'm surviving. I think eventually I'll end up going completely insane someday after eating the same damn dinners every night and having a 10-minute drive to the store or work take an hour, but for right now, I'm making it work. I still think about that goddamn chain letter. They are everywhere. I have mental breakdowns occasionally, nothing that alcohol doesn't take care of. I check outside my house every night before bed. It seems like more mirror people show up down on the street every night. They've never once tried to get in, though. That's the only thing keeping me halfway sane, having a safe house. On these nights where I totally crack, my neighbors can probably hear my muffled voice as I scream at the top of my lungs, why didn't I just forward that chain letter? Subscribe and please like, thanks for tuning in and listening.